Until now. Harini entered the hostel with innocence, kindness, and a heart full of values. She found friendship, trust, and slowly, a place she could call her own. But everything changed the moment she recognized Prakash. A man everyone admired, a man Tripura loved deeply, was not who he appeared to be. Harini had seen his past, a dark truth hidden behind a charming face. Trying to protect Tripura, Harini warned her. She even went to the extent of informing her family, hoping to save her from a dangerous mistake. But truth, when spoken at the wrong time, often sounds like betrayal. Tripura didn't believe her. Instead, she saw Harini as someone trying to break her love, someone playing cheap tricks to come between her and Prakash. Friendship turned into hatred. Trust turned into suspicion. And Harini was left completely alone. No matter how much she tried, she couldn't make Tripura see the truth. And just when things couldn't get worse, life took a drastic turn. A marriage proposal arrives for Tripura from her family. Cornered, confused, and blinded by love, Tripura makes a decision that will change everything. She decides to run away and marry Prakash. The next morning at 6:30, Prakash and Tripura reached the temple. The priest began the wedding rituals. Tripura felt no fear, no guilt, no hesitation. She stared into the sacred fire lit for the ceremony, imagining the sweet moments she would soon spend with Prakash. The clear chanting of mantras, the warmth of the fire in the chilly dawn, and beside her, the man she believed was her very life. In that moment, her happiness seemed boundless. "Son, it is time to tie the sacred wedding thread around the bride's neck," said the priest, handing the Mangal Sutra to Prakash while chanting the traditional marriage mantra. Prakash rose to tie the sacred thread. Suddenly, he froze. Harini stood there. Beside her were the police. "That man, the one dressed as the groom, he's the one I told you about. Arrest him," Harini said firmly. The constables grabbed Prakash by the collar, pulled him up, handcuffed him, and dragged him toward the jeep. Tripura stood frozen, unable to comprehend what was happening. She ran behind them. "Sir, why are you arresting him? What has he done?" she cried to the sub-inspector. In the chaos, he did not respond. "Prakash, why are the police arresting you? What did you do?" she sobbed. "I don't understand either. But don't worry, I haven't committed any crime. I will definitely come back," he said, acting innocent. "Shut up and get into the jeep," the officer barked. They drove away. Tripura turned toward Harini, eyes blazing. When Harini reached the hostel that evening, she immediately noticed something was wrong. Her trolley bag was lying near the entrance. Her books were scattered across the floor. A few clothes had slipped out of the bag. She stopped for a moment, confused. "Why are my things outside?" She slowly walked toward the entrance. Just as she was about to step inside, "Stop right there." Harini looked up. Shweta was standing near the doorway. "Don't come inside," Shweta said. Harini looked around at the scattered belongings. "What is going on?" she asked. "Why are my things outside?" Shweta folded her arms. "You really want to ask that?" "I seriously don't understand," Harini replied. Shweta looked at the girls standing behind her. "Look at her. She's still acting innocent." Then she turned back to Harini. "You barely know Prakash. He doesn't even know you properly. Yet you went and filed a harassment case against him." Harini took a breath. "Shweta, listen to me first." "No," Shweta said. "You listen. What you did is not a small thing." Harini spoke calmly. "Prakash is not the person you think he is." "Oh, really?" Shweta said. "Yes," Harini replied. "He is involved in human trafficking." Some of the girls exchanged surprised looks. Harini continued. "He trapped Tripura. This morning he was planning to take her away and marry her. I overheard their conversation." Shweta shook her head. "That's enough. Don't start creating stories now." "I am not creating stories," Harini said. "I didn't have proof against him. That's why I had to file a case to stop him. Otherwise Tripura would have left with him." Shweta interrupted again. "Stop it, Harini. From the beginning, people here have been noticing strange things about your behavior." Another girl spoke from behind. We cannot stay with someone like this. Shweta pointed toward the gate. You cannot stay here anymore. The voices had already become loud. Just then the hostel warden came out. What is happening here? She asked. Your shouting can be heard from upstairs. Shweta immediately walked toward her. Madam, please send Harini out of the hostel. The warden frowned. Why? What happened? Shweta replied quickly. She filed a harassment case against Prakash even though she hardly knows him. The warden looked surprised. Shweta continued speaking. Tripura has been crying since afternoon. She didn't eat anything. She cried so much that she collapsed. She is still lying upstairs. Please send Harini out immediately. The warden shook her head. That is not possible. Her father has already paid 2 years of hostel fees. I cannot send her out suddenly. Shweta replied without hesitation. Then we will leave the hostel. The warden sighed. Shweta, don't behave like this. Try to understand my situation. If I send her out, her father will demand the fees back. That is not possible. She looked at all the girls. You are all living in the same hostel. Small conflicts can happen. You should deal with them calmly. Shweta spoke again. Madam, are you supporting her because her father is an Air Force officer? The warden looked at her sharply. Shweta, mind your words. Stay within your limits. Do you think I run this hostel because I am afraid of someone's father? Shweta became quiet. The warden then turned toward Harini. From the day you came here, one issue or another keeps happening. A few days ago, you had an argument with Tripura. I also heard that you used a bad word against her. Harini remained silent. The warden continued. I cannot send you out of the hostel, but you cannot stay with them either. She thought for a moment. There is a small room near the staircase. You will stay there from now on. Harini did not say anything. You should not mix with these girls, the warden continued. And none of you should mix with her. You will eat your meals only after everyone finishes. She then looked at the other girls. If she talks to anyone or creates another issue, inform me immediately. If there is another complaint, I will take strict action. Then she looked at Shweta. And one more thing, the warden said. You are not the warden of this hostel. I am. Decisions here will be taken by me, not by you. The corridor became quiet. Now tell me, the warden continued, are you satisfied with this decision? Shweta did not reply. Good, the warden said. Then stop this argument and go back to your rooms. She then called out Yashoda. A girl stepped forward. Show her the small room near the staircase. It has been used as a storeroom. Get it cleaned. Then the warden turned to Harini. Do not go to your old room. Collect your things and wait here until that room is cleaned. After that, arrange your belongings there. With that, the warden walked away toward her room. Life in the staircase room. After shifting to the small room near the staircase, Harini sat alone for a long time. The room was narrow and quiet. A faint light came through the small window, but the silence felt heavier than the darkness. For a moment she simply sat there, staring at nothing. Then she slowly opened her rack and took out her old family album. She turned the pages gently. Photographs from her childhood, birthdays, holidays, the warm smiles of her parents. Those were the golden days. A faint smile appeared on her face for a second, but it quickly faded. She closed the album and leaned back against the wall. I was prepared for this, she told herself quietly. I knew something like this might happen one day. She remembered her father's words. With patience, everything can be achieved. No darkness is permanent. Harini took a deep breath and lightly tapped her own shoulder, as if comforting herself. Yes, I will face this. I will be patient. Just then, the door suddenly opened. Vaishnavi stepped inside. I heard everything, she said immediately. Harini looked up in surprise. What you did was right, Vaishnavi continued firmly. I truly appreciate your courage. Not everyone would have had the boldness to do what you did. She paused for a moment. I also heard how they behaved with you, throwing your things outside like that. That was very rude. If I had been there, I would have answered them right then and there. But unfortunately, I had work at college, so I had to stay back. Harini gave a small, tired smile. Thank you, she said softly. But you shouldn't stay here. If they see you with me, you may also face the same things I'm facing now. Vaishnavi shook her head immediately. It's all right, she said. I'm fine here. I'm going to stay here. Harini looked at her confused. What is the point of friendship, Vaishnavi continued, if I don't show up during your difficult times? You are not alone, okay? Whatever happens. Harini looked at her for a long moment. Her eyes silently expressed the gratitude she couldn't put into words. From that day, Vaishnavi stayed with her in the staircase room. In the days that followed, some hostel mates tried to pull Vaishnavi away. Come with us to the movies, they would say. Why are you always sitting with her? Come, let's gossip and hang out. Sometimes Vaishnavi tried to include Harini. Harini will come too, she would say. But the others were reluctant. Most of them clearly wanted to avoid Harini. Some even warned Vaishnavi. Don't stay with her, they said. She seems like a dangerous person. One day you may also land in trouble because of her. But none of those words affected Vaishnavi. She didn't move away. Instead, she stayed even closer to Harini. Whenever people avoided Harini or behaved strangely around her, Vaishnavi would simply smile and start a conversation. It's okay, she would say. Don't bother about them. Then she would start chatting about random things, college gossip, funny incidents, assignments, anything that would keep the silence away. Slowly, the two of them began spending most of their time together. They talked, studied, laughed quietly, and supported each other. Meanwhile, friends who once shared secrets and selfies with Harini now behaved like strangers. When she walked through the corridor, some girls stopped talking. Others avoided eye contact. They looked at her as if she were something unpleasant, something dangerous. Harini noticed it, but she chose not to react. And beside her, like an unshakable wall, Vaishnavi stood firm. Their friendship only grew stronger. The lawyer and Tripura. Tripura sat outside the police station, her eyes swollen from crying. Inside, the lawyer adjusted his spectacles and looked through the papers placed before him. The case is serious, he said in a measured tone. A complaint for eve-teasing has been filed against him. Once such a complaint is officially registered, the process cannot be stopped easily. Tripura leaned forward anxiously. But sir, he never did anything like that, she said quickly. He didn't tease anyone. This is a false accusation. Harini has wrongly filed a case against him. The lawyer nodded slowly. Yes, I understand what you are saying, he replied. These kinds of false accusations have become quite common nowadays. He tapped the file on the table. But the complaint here is detailed. Not only eve-teasing, she also filed cases like outraging the modesty of a woman, criminal intimidation, stalking, and whatnot. Proper documentation has been submitted to the police. Once the paperwork is officially recorded, the law moves according to the documents placed before it. Tripura's fingers trembled. So, what can be done now? The first step is bail, the lawyer said calmly. How much will it cost? 25,000. Minimum. That is only for the initial bail process. If the case continues further, the expenses will increase. 25,000? Her voice broke in disbelief. Yes. Arrange it as soon as possible, the lawyer replied. Otherwise, he will have to remain inside until the process moves forward. Tripura stepped out of the police station in shock. Her love now had a price, and she had no way to pay it. Slowly, helplessness inside her began turning into anger. And that anger needed someone to blame. Harini. Harini, the confrontation. That evening, a loud knock echoed on the door of the staircase room. Vaishnavi opened the door. Before she could react, Tripura pushed her aside and stormed inside. Harini looked up from the book she had been reading. Tripura stood in front of her, shaking with rage. Are you satisfied now? She shouted. The lawyer is asking 25,000 for bail. Tell me, from where am I supposed to bring that money? Her voice trembled between fury and despair. What wrong did I do to you? Why are you mentally torturing me like this? Harini slowly stood up. She didn't argue. She didn't defend herself. She simply looked at Tripura quietly, her face calm but tired. Vaishnavi immediately stepped closer to Harini. Enough, she said firmly. After the warden separated her, she's been living alone here. She doesn't speak to anyone. She doesn't create trouble. She minds her own business. Why are you still coming here and disturbing her? But Tripura was no longer listening. Pain had turned into bitterness. She glared at Harini with burning hatred. The Lord is watching, she said bitterly. Today you may be enjoying what you've done, but tomorrow you will cry. Not once, you will cry double for this. Her voice echoed in the small room. Then she bent down. From the fold of her shawl, she took a handful of soil she had brought with her. She flung it onto the floor in front of Harini. The soil scattered across the ground like a dark mark. May you never find happiness, Tripura cursed. May the person you love become the reason for your suffering. For a moment, the room fell completely silent. Harini did not move. A strange chill ran through her. It was not the soil that frightened her. It was the intensity of hatred in Tripura's eyes. What is this madness? Vaishnavi shouted angrily. Why are you throwing mud here? She rushed forward and grabbed Tripura's arm. Don't overact unnecessarily, she continued sharply. The warden already separated Harini to avoid problems. She doesn't talk to anyone. She doesn't interfere with anyone's life. She's minding her own business. Her voice became colder. So don't come here again and create trouble for her. With that, Vaishnavi pushed Tripura toward the door. Tripura stumbled out, still muttering curses under her breath. Vaishnavi slammed the door shut. Silence filled the room. The soil lay scattered on the floor between them. Vaishnavi bent down to clean it. Stop, Vaishnavi. Don't touch it, Harini said quickly. Her voice was low, uneasy. Vaishnavi looked up in confusion. There may be some curse in it. Some spell she meant to place on me, Harini said quietly. You shouldn't touch it. She slowly knelt down. This happened because of what I did. If there is any curse in it, I will bear it. She carefully gathered the soil into her hands. I will throw it away myself. Vaishnavi watched her silently, worry written across her face. Vaishnavi watched silently as Harini gathered the scattered soil into her hands and carried it to the window, throwing it outside. For a while, neither of them spoke. Later that night, after Vaishnavi had fallen asleep, Harini sat alone near the small window of the staircase room. The corridor lights outside flickered faintly, casting long shadows on the wall. Her mind kept returning to Tripura's words. The anger, the hatred, the curse. For a brief moment, the thought unsettled her. What if those words truly carried pain meant for me? She closed her eyes. Then suddenly, another memory surfaced, her father's voice from her childhood. He had once told her a story from the epics. To protect what is right, he had said, even Lord Krishna accepted curses without stepping back. When the purpose is righteous, one should never fear the consequences. Harini slowly inhaled. To protect what is right. Her father had repeated those words many times while teaching her about life. If your intention is to protect what is right, he would say, never hesitate. Even if the path brings hardship, stand firm. Do not step back because of fear, blame, or curses. Harini opened her eyes. The uneasiness inside her slowly began to settle. I did what I believed was right, she told herself quietly. If any curse comes because of that, I will accept it. She placed her hand gently on her own shoulder, steadying herself. No darkness is permanent, she whispered, remembering her father's words again. Outside, the night remained silent. But inside her heart, the fear had slowly turned into resolve. Harini straightened her back and closed the window. Whatever was coming next, she was ready to face it. That day was Harini's birthday. No one in the hostel knew about it, except Vaishnavi. Vaishnavi quietly ordered a small cake. Harini was a little hesitant at first. Vaishnavi, it's okay. No need to celebrate, she said. But Vaishnavi insisted. It's your birthday. At least a small celebration. So they went to the terrace. A small cake. 2 friends. And a quiet evening. Vaishnavi lit a candle and pushed the cake toward her. My dear bestie, happy birthday. Harini smiled. Thank you. She cut the cake. For a few minutes they laughed, joked, and forgot everything that had happened in the hostel. The quiet celebration slowly turned into genuine laughter. Just then, the terrace door opened. Shweta walked in. "What's all this noise?" she said loudly. "What are you people doing here?" Harini's smile faded. Vaishnavi noticed the change immediately. She didn't want the situation to turn into another argument, especially not today. So she spoke lightly. "Come on, Shweta," she said. "Take a piece of cake. Today is Harini's birthday." Shweta looked at Harini from head to toe. "Oh, birthday." She let out a short laugh. "I could guess that from your dress." She stepped closer and looked at the cake. "You do look nice today." She paused. "But you would look even better lying quietly in a grave." The terrace went silent. "Shweta," Vaishnavi said sharply, "mind your words. It's her birthday. Is this how you speak to someone on their birthday?" Shweta shrugged. "Oh, poor thing. So fragile that she might get hurt on her birthday. But apparently she is strong enough to destroy someone else's life." Vaishnavi frowned. "What are you talking about?" Shweta continued. "She can file false cases, ruin someone's reputation, break someone's dreams." Then she looked straight at Harini. "And after doing all that, she is cutting cake and celebrating?" Harini remained silent. Shweta picked up the cake box. The small birthday celebration on the terrace ended badly. The cake lay on the floor. Shweta had already walked away as if nothing had happened. For a few seconds, no one spoke. Vaishnavi looked at Harini. "Harini, I'm really sorry," she said quietly. Harini shook her head. "It's not your fault." She looked at the cake on the ground for a moment and then said softly, "Let it go." The two of them slowly walked down from the terrace. Neither of them felt like going back into the room. So they stepped outside the hostel building to get some fresh air. They stood near the gate in silence. Just then a voice came from behind. "New dress." Both of them turned. Mahadev was standing there. He looked at Harini and asked casually, "So, birthday today?" Harini looked surprised. "How did you guess that?" Mahadev pointed at her dress. "That brand has only one showroom in Chennai." Harini looked confused. "My father lives in Chennai." Mahadev nodded. "Exactly. So I guess the dress was probably sent by him." Vaishnavi looked at Harini and smiled slightly. "You see? Someone noticed." For the first time since the terrace incident, Harini smiled a little. Mahadev then asked lightly, "So, where's the birthday party?" Harini replied, "If I were at home, there would have been one. But here, it's just another normal day." Mahadev studied her expression for a moment. He could sense that something had happened, but he didn't ask. Instead, he said, "Good." Harini frowned. "Good." "Yes," he said calmly. "That means we can do something better." Then he pointed toward a small open space nearby. "There are some people sitting there. I was taking food packets for them." He looked at both Harini and Vaishnavi. "If you don't mind, you can join." There was no pressure in his voice. Vaishnavi looked at Harini. Harini hesitated for a second, then nodded. The three of them walked there together. A few elderly people were sitting on the side of the road. Mahadev picked up some food packets and handed them to Harini and Vaishnavi. "Give these to them," he said. They walked toward the old people and handed the packets one by one. The elderly people looked surprised. Then their faces slowly filled with warmth. "Happy birthday, child," one of them said. "May God bless you." Another old woman raised her hand in blessing. "May you always stay happy." Harini stood there quietly, receiving those blessings. After some time they came back. Mahadev was speaking to one of the old women, making sure everyone had received food. Vaishnavi watched the scene silently. Harini looked at Mahadev. She didn't say anything, but inside her mind, a thought slowly formed. "Lately, I have been receiving only curses and humiliation. And today, because of you, I received blessings. I don't know who you are, but whenever I feel sad, you somehow make me feel happy." "Thank you, Mahadev. This is the best birthday gift I could have received." Harini didn't say those words aloud. She simply stood there quietly, watching him with silent appreciation. A few days later, it was a holiday. That late morning, Harini and Vaishnavi were sitting on their usual bench in the park. Harini looked at Vaishnavi with slight annoyance. "I still don't understand you," she said. Vaishnavi raised her eyebrows. "What now? Why didn't you go with them?" Harini asked. "You should have gone." Vaishnavi leaned back on the bench. "Oh, please, not this again." "Yes, this again," Harini replied. "They have a problem with me, not with you." "You shouldn't have stopped because of me." Vaishnavi shook her head. "Harini, I already told you. I wasn't interested." "That's not true," Harini said immediately. "You wanted to go." Vaishnavi didn't respond this time. Harini sighed. "I even told you that you could go alone. But you didn't listen." Just then someone walked toward them. "Hi." Both of them looked up. It was Mahadev. He sat down casually on the other side of the bench. "Today is a holiday, right?" he asked. "Yes," Vaishnavi replied. Mahadev nodded. "This morning I passed by your hostel. I saw a van parked outside. A lot of girls were getting into it." He looked at them curiously. Looked like they were going somewhere. Then he asked, "Aren't you two going?" Harini gave a small smile. "They went to Wonderland." Mahadev raised his eyebrows. "Wonderland? That sounds fun." Then he looked at them again. "Why didn't you go?" Harini hesitated for a second before answering. "Actually, we were not invited." Mahadev blinked slightly. Before he could respond, Harini continued. "Vaishnavi could have gone though." Vaishnavi turned toward her immediately. "Hey." But Harini kept speaking. "They don't have a problem with her. They only have issues with me." She paused briefly. "I don't really have good terms with most of my hostel mates." Then she glanced at Vaishnavi. "I even told her she could go alone." Vaishnavi sighed. But she didn't listen. Harini looked down at the ground. "What bothers me is not that I missed the trip." She looked at Vaishnavi again. "It's that she missed it because of me." Mahadev listened quietly. Then suddenly a small smile appeared on his face. "Harini," he said gently, "just because someone doesn't invite you somewhere, that doesn't make you any less." Harini looked up at him. Mahadev leaned back slightly and said with a playful tone, "Think about it. Even Cinderella wasn't invited to the royal ball." For a moment there was silence. Then Vaishnavi burst into laughter. Mahadev smiled. "But look what happened later," he continued. "She ended up being the most important person there." Harini couldn't help smiling a little. Mahadev looked at both of them and said lightly, "So missing one trip to Wonderland is not such a big tragedy." Vaishnavi nodded dramatically. "Exactly," Mahadev added with a grin. "Who knows? Maybe your story is waiting for a much bigger ballroom." Harini smiled quietly. She didn't say anything. But for a moment, something about Mahadev's words felt strangely familiar to her. The calm way he spoke, the way he tried to make her see things differently. It reminded her of someone. Her father. Whenever she felt upset during her childhood, her father used to comfort her in the same way, bringing up simple stories or old examples just to make her smile. Hearing Mahadev speak now felt strangely familiar. For a moment she looked at him quietly. Mahadev then shrugged casually. "Anyway," he said lightly, "if you both missed that trip, that's okay." He leaned back against the bench. "Sometimes the places we don't go to save us from boring trips." Vaishnavi laughed again. And Harini smiled a little longer this time. Somewhere deep inside her heart, a small admiration for Mahadev had just begun to grow. Mahadev said, "There's a small temple in a village across the river. It's very peaceful there. Shall we go?" Harini and Vaishnavi agreed immediately. They walked to the riverbank where a small wooden boat was waiting to ferry people across. A few villagers were already seated inside. The three of them climbed in and the boat slowly began moving over the calm water. Just then, a villager arrived with a buffalo. He wanted to cross the river too. The boatman shook his head. The buffalo was too heavy to bring into the boat. So the man tied a rope around the buffalo's neck, held the rope in his hand, and stepped into the boat. The buffalo had no choice but to swim behind them as the boat moved forward. The animal struggled in the water, occasionally drifting to one side. Each time it did, the man tugged the rope firmly and guided it back toward the boat. Harini watched silently. The river was not very wide, but the swim was clearly tiring for the animal. When they finally reached the other side, everyone got down from the boat. The buffalo climbed onto the bank, shook the water off its body, and slowly walked toward a patch of fresh green grass. Harini suddenly walked toward it. She gently placed her hand on the animal's neck and hugged it for a moment. A few tears rolled down her cheeks. Mahadev noticed and walked closer. "Why are you getting so emotional?" he asked softly. Harini wiped her eyes. "Poor thing," she said. "All of us were sitting comfortably in the boat, but it had to struggle in the water all the way." She looked at the buffalo again. It had to swim the entire distance, and every time it moved away, it was pulled back with the rope. It must have been so hard for it. Mahadev watched the buffalo quietly. "Yes," he said after a moment. "Pulling it like that was not very kind." Then he pointed toward the animal. "But look at it now." The buffalo was happily eating the thick grass growing along the riverbank. Mahadev smiled slightly. On the other side of the river, there wasn't much grass. "Here there's plenty." Harini followed his gaze. Mahadev continued gently. "Sometimes life is like that. Sometimes we feel like we're being pushed into the water while others sit comfortably in the boat." Harini listened silently. "But maybe," Mahadev said calmly, "something is simply guiding us across the river." He looked at the rope still tied around the buffalo's neck. "Sometimes the rope that feels like control is actually guidance." He paused. "And sometimes the struggle in the water is what brings us to greener fields on the other side." Harini looked at the buffalo again, peacefully eating grass. Her expression slowly softened. Vaishnavi smiled. "Mahadev," she said playfully, "you turn even a buffalo crossing a river into philosophy." Mahadev laughed. "What to do? Life keeps giving examples." Harini didn't laugh this time. She just looked at him quietly. His words stayed in her mind long after the moment passed. Three of them first went to a temple which is on the top of the hill. The temple was calm and quiet. Soft devotional music was playing in the background, and the smell of incense filled the air. For a while, both of them simply sat there in silence, enjoying the peaceful atmosphere. After offering their prayers, they stepped outside. The street near the temple was lively with small shops. Vaishnavi stopped near a stall. "Let's look around for a bit," she said. They spent some time browsing through small accessories and street stalls, talking about random things and slowly forgetting the unpleasant mood of the morning. She looked at the watch. Dramatically. "If we don't start going back now, the warden will definitely kill us." Mahadev laughed. Vaishnavi folded her arms and looked at him mischievously. "So do one thing, Mahadev," she said playfully. "Either you file a false case against her, or give her some philosophy about how to become a good warden and why students should be allowed to come late." Mahadev raised an eyebrow, amused. Vaishnavi continued teasing, "You seem to have a philosophy for everything anyway." Harini quickly nudged her. "Vaishnavi, don't," she said softly. Vaishnavi immediately turned toward her with a teasing smile. "Oh, why are you reacting like that?" she said dramatically. Then she snapped her fingers as if she had discovered something. Got it." She pointed toward Mahadev. "Don't worry. He's my friend, okay?" Harini looked embarrassed. Mahadev burst out laughing. "Hey," he said. Vaishnavi immediately started running a few steps away, laughing loudly. Mahadev pretended to chase her. "Wait, I'll show you what philosophy means." Vaishnavi ran around the temple courtyard while Harini stood there laughing at their childish antics. After a moment, the three of them slowly started walking back toward the riverbank, still smiling and teasing each other. That evening ended with laughter echoing through the quiet village path. And for the first time in many days, Harini felt something she had almost forgotten. A simple, peaceful happiness. For the next 15 days, evenings in the park became a routine. Harini and Vaishnavi would arrive first. Soon Mahadev would join them. With his playful remarks and easy humor, Mahadev could make Harini laugh without trying too hard. He never crossed a line, never spoke carelessly. There was always a quiet respect in the way he treated her. Slowly, those evenings became the happiest part of their days. Just like that, 15 beautiful days passed. Then one afternoon, everything changed. The hostel attendant appeared near their room. "The warden is calling both of you," she said briefly and walked away. Harini and Vaishnavi looked at each other. "Why now?" Vaishnavi muttered. A faint uneasiness settled in both their minds as they walked to the office. The warden was waiting. She leaned back in her chair, studying them carefully. So, she began coldly, "What is this daily meeting in the park? And who exactly is that boy?" The question was sharp. Harini understood immediately. Someone had complained. Before she could speak, Vaishnavi stepped forward. "Madam, he's my childhood friend. We studied together till 8th class." The warden let out a dry laugh. "If he is just a childhood friend, a simple hello should be enough. Why sit there for hours?" Vaishnavi's expression tightened. "Madam, people talk to friends. Spending time together is normal. Is that also a crime now?" The warden's voice hardened. "Your batch is becoming a problem." Earlier girls knew their limits. She leaned forward. "First Tripura runs around with lawyers and police saying love marriage. Now you two are roaming around parks claiming friendship. Do you understand what happens to the hostel's reputation because of this?" Then she turned directly toward Harini. "Especially because of you." Her tone grew colder. "One day, because of your name, I might have to shut this hostel down." Harini stood quietly. The warden continued. "I already warned you not to talk to that boy. Even your father told me clearly, make sure my daughter doesn't speak to any boys." Her eyes narrowed. "What is it? You can't stay without talking to him? Do you love him? Or is there something else I should know?" Harini lowered her gaze. She had never been someone who argued. But Vaishnavi was different. Her patience snapped. "If the fees we pay aren't enough," she said sharply, "are you running a brokerage service here, matching girls and boys?" The room went silent. The warden slammed her palm on the table. "Vaishnavi, mind your language." But Vaishnavi didn't step back. "Harini is like your daughter here. Would you speak like this to your own child?" Her voice rose. "You're accusing her as if she has done something shameful." The warden's face turned red. "Show some respect." Vaishnavi laughed bitterly. "Respect works both ways, madam." She continued without hesitation. "Every Saturday Tripura goes out to meet Prakash. The whole hostel knows it. Even you know it." Her eyes locked with the warden's. "Did you ever question her like this?" The warden said nothing. Vaishnavi pressed further. "But today, suddenly we become the problem?" Her voice grew colder. "Why do you always defend Tripura? Is there some understanding between the two of you?" The accusation hung heavily in the room. For a moment the warden had no answer. Finally, she straightened in her chair. "I have no dealings with anyone," she said stiffly. "All students are equal to me." Then she pointed toward the door. "And don't cross your limits again." Before they could leave, she added one last warning to Harini. "If I see you speaking to that boy again, I will call your father immediately and send you out of this hostel. Remember that." The meeting was over. Outside the office, Harini exhaled slowly. "Why did you fight like that?" she asked quietly. Vaishnavi frowned. "What else should I do? Stay silent while she talks like that." They began walking back toward their room. After a few steps, Vaishnavi muttered, "That woman never leaves her room. She sits there all day like a caterpillar inside a cocoon." She shook her head. "I'm telling you, this complaint definitely came from Tripura." Harini was silent for a moment. Then she said calmly, "Maybe, maybe not." Vaishnavi looked at her. Harini continued softly, "But the warden has warned us." She paused. "Maybe we are getting closer to Mahadev than we should." Vaishnavi didn't respond. "It's not good," Harini said quietly. "We should avoid it." And from the next day, they did. If Mahadev appeared in the park, they turned their faces away. If he walked toward them, they left. Mahadev tried speaking to Harini a few times. She responded politely, but distant. The warmth was gone. After a few days, he stopped trying. Mahadev had seen this before. From school to college, many friendships had begun warmly and ended the same way, slowly fading into silence. Usually it never bothered him. But this time, it did. He never showed it. One evening, Harini and Vaishnavi were sitting on a park bench. Harini looked around the park and sighed in relief. The tension that had been building for days. Mahadev finally exploded. At least today we can sit peacefully without tension. His voice shaking with anger. But at that moment, did I behave indecently? A voice did I ever disrespect you? Calm, or are you just testing whether I'll feel bad? Maybe you didn't look carefully. Harini stood silent. I did come today. That silence. Both of them hurt more than any answer. Mahadev stood a few steps away, bitterly. His face carried no smile. Harini, no mischief. But you two are like the others. No warmth. Proud of your beauty. He began walking past them. Please leave. Not stopping. If the warden not looking at them. There was a quiet storm in his stride. Don't interfere. The two girls instinctively this is between us, he snapped. For the first time, his raised voice began attracting attention. They were simply stunned. A man nearby stepped because forward. This was not the Mahadev they knew. Excuse me, sir. Not the one who joked in public and call it personal. Not the one who no one will so stay hard silent. To make Harini laugh. Mahadev turned sharply, ego flaring. Do you know who I am? I'm an assistant commissioner of police. If I decide, the air thickened. I can file false cases and lock you up. Be careful, Mahadev thundered. The stranger stepped closer. Unshaken. Do you even know who I am? I serve in the Indian Army. If I decide, I can beat you like a stray dog and shoot you on the spot. Don't flash your police authority at me. You be careful. The crowd went silent. Shall we see? Fine. Let's see. Come. Mahadev shot back, stepping forward. They were seconds away from a physical clash. Brother, please. Don't fight, please. Mahadev, please. Harini cried desperately, placing herself between them. Two powerful men. Two raging egos. One trembling girl standing in the middle. They glared at each other, fists clenched, but slowly stepped back. Harini turned to the army officer. Brother, he is my friend. He is actually a good person. He behaved like that out of frustration. Please don't create a scene. If needed, I will apologize on his behalf. The officer cast one final fiery look at Mahadev and walked away. The storm quieted, but inside Mahadev, it was still raging. Mahadev, come, sit. I need to talk to you, Harini said softly. He sat heavily on the park bench. Vashu, just see if anyone is coming, she whispered. Harini looked at him, his jaw tight, eyes burning. What is your problem, Mahadev? Why are you behaving like this? My behavior, he burst out. You are the reason. For 15 days I've been watching your attitude, suppressing my feelings. Today I couldn't take it anymore. Why are you avoiding me? Why are you playing with my feelings? What happiness do you get from this? Harini took a deep breath. You're thinking something else. The reality is different. I'm not avoiding you for fun, and not to hurt you. Her voice trembled slightly. The warden has strictly warned me. If she sees me talking to you again, she will throw me out of the hostel. And she means it. Mahadev's anger flickered, but didn't disappear. If that happens, she continued, how will I face my parents? Every day I am already facing insults, humiliation. Staying away from home and studying isn't easy. Poor Vaishnavi is suffering along with me. Please, don't create new problems for us. A long silence followed. For the first time, Mahadev didn't interrupt. If what you're saying is true, he finally said, still emotionally restless, then it's not a big problem. We can meet secretly. We don't have to let the warden know. And if she creates trouble, I'll use my influence. I will support you. Harini looked straight into his eyes. Clear. Steady. Firm. What exactly is your problem, Mahadev? Why should we meet secretly? What relationship do we even have? Those words hit harder than a slap. Listen carefully. My father does not like me interacting with boys at all. That's why I never studied in co-education. Even now, I'm in a women's college. He once mentioned something about astrological issues in my horoscope. She paused. Just because I'm away from home doesn't mean I can behave however I want. That would be betraying my parents. I don't want that. I want to remain honest to my father. Her voice softened, but her resolve strengthened. Even now, I have already been more friendly with you than necessary, and that is not good for either of us. Silence. This time, it wasn't angry. It was final. Mahadev, who could threaten an army officer without fear, had no answer for her calm truth. And sometimes, the most powerful words are spoken softly. Don't give unnecessary reasons, Harini. Mahadev's voice had lost its aggression. It now carried helplessness. Did I ever hurt you knowingly or unknowingly? If I did, tell me. I'll correct myself. I'll even apologize. That wasn't the voice of an IPS officer. That was the voice of a man afraid of losing someone. Harini's eyes softened. No, nothing like that, she said gently. You are truly a good person. You've never caused me any direct problem. But talking to you creates new problems for me. I don't want that. The problems I already have are enough. She paused, gathering strength. Please understand. You are a brilliant person. You cleared civil services in your first attempt. You are a responsible IPS officer. Don't behave like a childish boy and drag me into unnecessary complications. Those words were calm, mature, but they cut deep. Mahadev stood silent. For the first time, he wasn't reacting. He was thinking. After a long pause, he spoke quietly. All right, if meeting and talking to me is a problem, I won't come to this park anymore. You don't have to look around and check if I'm here before you sit. He turned slightly. Anne, I'm sorry for speaking harshly earlier. Vishu, you too. Please don't misunderstand. No ego, no authority, no arguments, just acceptance. And with that, he walked away. Not angrily, not dramatically, just quietly. Vaishnavi came and sat beside Harini. I've been avoiding him along with you, she said thoughtfully. But why is he so angry only with you? I've known him longer than you have. Harini had no answer. Because somewhere, deep inside, she knew the answer. But she wasn't ready to admit it. She let out a long sigh. Her life was already complicated. Family pressure, warden's threats, astrological fears, constant humiliation. And now, a silent heartbreak added to it. True to his word, Mahadev never returned to the park. No playful jokes, no sudden appearances, no intense stares, just absence. And sometimes, absence speaks louder than presence. Days turned into weeks. Weeks turned into months. And like that, amidst misunderstandings, suppressed emotions, ego battles, and silent humiliations, 3 months passed. But the silence between them? It only grew louder. Exams were finally over. Harini left for her hometown, Chennai. After 6 long months, the moment she stepped into her house, she ran into her mother's arms. It's been 6 months since I saw you, she said, hugging her tightly. She spent the entire day talking to her mother. For the first time in months, she felt safe. The people who misunderstood her, who wounded her with careless words, were now 700 kilometers away. These 4 days, I can finally breathe peacefully, she told herself. That evening at 6, her father, Prasad, returned home. Like a little child, she ran toward him. Father. She held his hands and spun around playfully. After 6 months, seeing his daughter again filled him with indescribable joy. After dinner, as usual, the family sat around the dining table sipping coffee. Did you make this coffee? He asked Gayatri. Yes, she replied. You know there's a cook at home, right? Why trouble yourself? If I drink your coffee, my tongue will spoil. Right, Harini? He teased. Harini laughed. You should come to my hostel once and taste what they call coffee. Compared to that, this is 100 times better. Dad is joking, the coffee is really good. Prasad smiled, but his eyes softened. How's the food there? Are you eating properly? He asked gently. The food there is better than here, she replied without hesitation. But that was a lie. She knew if she spoke carelessly, they would sense her struggles, and they would suffer. She didn't want that. The truth was painful. The warden had isolated her in the mess. By the time others finished eating, hardly anything remained for her. No matter how many times she complained, nothing changed. Some nights she survived on parcels from outside. That night, she lay on her bed, earphones in, listening to old songs. Her door creaked open softly. Her father walked in quietly. Not sleeping yet? She asked. He sat beside her, head lowered. For a few seconds, silence. Then, I feel guilty, he said. She removed her earphones. You worked so hard for CAT exams, secured a great rank, got a good seat here in this city. But for my selfish reasons, I asked you to let it go. His voice cracked slightly. You didn't even argue. You just agreed. Now you're studying in a college below your standard in Hyderabad. If you had opposed me, stayed here, you would have been far ahead by now. He looked at her. Because of me, you're struggling in another state. I'm the villain of the year, Harini. If you're angry, scold me. I deserve it. Tears gathered in his eyes. The strong defense officer, who faced borders, guns, and dangers without fear, was now afraid of losing his daughter's trust. Harini gently leaned her head on his shoulder. Dad, I'm happy there. I'm enjoying my hostel life. We're like one family. Everyone is friendly. He looked at her carefully. Are you saying this so this villain father won't feel bad? She shook her head firmly. You are the best father in the world. Her voice grew steady. 20 years in defense service. No drinking. No bad habits. You quit smoking the day I was born because you were scared I might get infected. A small smile touched his lips. You're always busy, but whenever you get time, you spend it with us. According to my horoscope, I shouldn't stay close to my father between 24 and 26. That's why you sent me away. She continued softly. Any other parent might have stopped their daughter's education in the name of superstition. But you didn't. You trusted me. You sent me far away so I could study. That is not selfishness. That is love. Prasad closed his eyes. Because sometimes, the strongest men break silently. And daughters. Heal wounds fathers never speak about. Daddy, now you know I'm not angry. So please, come out of this guilt feeling, okay? She squeezed his hand gently. Let's change the topic. Tell me something else. Her voice became playful again. Without thinking much, she slowly shifted closer and rested her head on her father's lap. For a second, Prasad froze. It had been years since she had done that. Gayatri smiled silently from the side. Prasad slowly placed his palm on Harini's head, gently stroking her hair. Well, when I was your age, he began. And just like that, he started narrating. Stories from his childhood. Stories from his training days in defense service. Funny incidents. Strict officers. Small mistakes he made when he was young. Then what happened, Daddy? She asked softly. He continued. And after that, we had to wake up at 4 a.m. every single day. Rain or cold, didn't matter. Her breathing slowly became deeper. But he didn't notice at first. He kept talking about the days when she wasn't even born, about how life used to be, about how strong one has to become in this world. And then what do you think happened next, dear? He asked with a small smile. Silence. He looked down. She had already fallen asleep, her head resting peacefully on his lap, her face calm, her fingers lightly clutching his shirt. For a moment, he didn't move. He just looked at her. The same little girl who once refused to sleep. The morning before goodbye. Before leaving for the office, Prasad Rao was sitting silently on the sofa in the hall. Gayatri brought him a cup of coffee and sat beside him. For a few seconds, neither spoke. Then softly she said, After all, she is a daughter. One day or the other, she has to go to another house. We shouldn't become too emotionally dependent on her. She paused and looked at him carefully. Ever since Harini left for the hostel, I've been watching you. You look like you've lost something. I haven't seen a real smile on your face since then. Only now, after she came home for these few days, I saw that happiness again. Prasad Rao took a deep breath. All this is truly God's blessing, he said slowly. I am very fortunate that she was born as my daughter. From childhood, she never behaved in a way that hurt me. She never spoke against my word. I never treated her just like a strict father. She was more like my life. His voice grew heavier. She worked so hard, earned that seat with her merit. When I asked her to let it go, she felt bad for 5 minutes. And then she gave it up. Just for me. His eyes filled again. My only fear is one thing. The world is complicated. How will she survive? She doesn't know how to lie, how to manipulate, how to fight selfishly. She believes people easily. Gayatri gently placed her hand on his. She will be fine, she said softly. But even she knew. Parents never stop worrying. Station the day she left again. The day came. At 6 a.m., Prasad Rao took Harini to the railway station. The early morning platform was filled with sleepy faces, tea vendors shouting, train whistles echoing. They found her compartment and sat together. 5 minutes left for departure. He stood up slowly. I should get down now, you take care. Call once you reach. She looked at him.